my chess video and I hope you like it.
Evaluating. The chess master recommends bishop. Thinking. The chess master recommends bishop to b7. You move your bishop to b7, which attacks black's bishop at c8. Black counters with king to f8. You move your bishop to c5, which protects your bishop at b7, your pawn at c7, and your knight at c3, and checks black's king. Black counters by moving the king to g8, which moves it out of check and triple forks your bishop at b7, your knight at c3, and your pawn at c7. You move your queen to d6, which removes the threat on your pawn at c7 and your bishop at c5, and threatens black's bishop at f6. Black responds with bishop takes bishop, which attacks your knight at f3. You move your knight to d5, which moves it out of immediate jeopardy and removes the threat on your knight at f3. Black counters with the bishop to e7, which skewers your queen and attacks your queen. Your queen captures bishop, which threatens black's pawn at h4 with a double attack. Black responds with rook at g7, captures pawn, which removes the threat on black's pawn at h4, checks your king, and isolates your pawn at h3 and your pawn at f2. Your pawn takes rook, which protects your king and attacks black's pawn at h4 with 2 pieces. Black counters with king to g7. Your knight takes pawn, which frees your knight at d5 from the pin. As a result of this line of play, you win a rook, a bishop, and a pawn for a bishop and a pawn. In addition, black's mobility is greatly decreased. Also, the pressure on black's king is somewhat increased.
I decided to attack his rook on b2 by moving my rook to b1, taking it with my queen afterwards. And then in the end, I'm attacking his rook with my queen.
The chess master recommends queen to b8. You move your queen to b8, which removes the threat on your pawn at c7 and attacks black's bishop at c8. Black answers with bishop captures knight, which attacks your bishop at d5. Your queen captures bishop, which threatens mate. Queen to d8. Black responds with queen captures bishop, which forks your knight and your pawn at a2. Your knight takes pawn, which threatens black's rook and creates a passed pawn on h3. Black replies by moving rook to f6, which moves it to safety. You move your bishop to c5, which removes the threat on your pawn at a2 and checks black's king. Black answers with queen captures bishop, which pins your pawn at f2 and protects black's king. You move your queen to d8, which checks black's king and adds a promote threat at c7. Black is forced to move king to e6, which moves it out of check. You move your pawn to c8 with a queen promotion, which skewers black's queen and triple forks black's queen, black's king, and black's pawn at a6. Black answers with queen captures queen, which protects black's pawn at a6 and black's king and threatens your queen at d8. Your queen takes queen, which triple forks black's bishop, black's king, and black's pawn at a6. Black replies by moving the king to d6, which moves it out of check. You move your rook to d1, which checks black's king. Black responds with bishop to d2, which removes the threat on black's king. You move your queen to d8, which forks black's king and black's rook. Black responds by moving king to e5, which moves it out of check and removes the threat on black's rook. Your rook captures bishop. As a result of this line of play, you win a queen, 2 bishops, and a pawn for 2 bishops and a knight. In addition, black's attack potential is greatly decreased. Also, the pressure on black's king is greatly increased. Evaluating.
And this is what actually happened. hope you liked the video. Please like, subscribe, or comment down below. See you next time.